The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends. And as always, on a day like this, we come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And we've had kind of a bounce in crude, which kind of ran over to a few other sectors today, and everybody's rather giddy and euphoric. And you know I'm always fearful when everybody's giddy and euphoric, and I am fearful, and I'm always greedy when everybody else is fearful. Anyway, it is an interesting day out here. We're up a little less than 11 points in the S&P cash. We still haven't turned 2 billion shares on the NYSE as we get and push higher. Notably, we've had some of the stocks that have been pushing the market higher and or pushing shorts kind of reversed today. Just a little bit on Apple, but Tesla is down significantly. A lot of other broad-based markets higher. There's just no volume. In fact, fairly light volume in the indexes themselves and incredibly light volume in the individual stocks. So we'll see how the rest of the day pans out. But I am of the opinion that this is the most dangerous market since 2007. So doesn't mean we can't go a little higher. This means I won't be surprised if we wake up and we're 50 points lower in the S&P cash, and many longs are trapped like rats. Doesn't mean it will happen. I think it is more likely. It's like hurricanes come more likely in the summer than in the winter. The conditions are correct. What else do we have going on out here? Well, of course, the NASDAQ's up a bit. Everybody's pushing the market just a little bit more. We'll see how the end of the day comes, but everybody's pretty giddy. They can't wait to buy yet another high. And if I thought that anything had physically changed in the fundamental belief of the markets, I'd just hang on right along. What else do we have going on? Well, that's kind of it at the moment. Not much happening since the open. Got to 2404 and kind of pulled back a couple of points. Nothing to scream about, but why don't we get this party started today?
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1911, the Supreme Court upholds the U.S. government's decision to break up the Rockefeller's Standard Oil Company on the grounds that it's such a powerful monopoly that it violates the rule of reason. In 1890, the Standard Oil Company had already gone to extreme lengths to crush any kind of competition in oil. Everybody knew that oil was going to be the big thing, that cars were coming, other things were coming down the road. And, of course, as many big players do, they want to consolidate their gains before anybody else comes in. Everybody knew this already, and Congress passed in 1890 the Sherman Antitrust Act because of the acts of Standard Oil already up to that time. I think it was it 1905 or 6? I think it was 1905 or 6 when the original antitrust action was filed by the government. So it took almost 5 years to work its way all the way up to the Supreme Court. Don't know exactly why it took 5 years in 1911. Wasn't like they were doing that much. I think the Supreme Court was like a half-year thing at the time. But the Antitrust Act, an attempt to restrain the power of trust, banning every contract, combination, in the form of trust or otherwise, or conspiracy in the restraint of trade or commerce. And of course, a lot of this had to do with trying to get monopolies on the railroad. And one of the reasons why monopoly has railroad. Always interesting. Anyway, on this day in 1911, and my guess is that we will, in the next 4 years, see actions against at least one of the major companies in Silicon Valley, as Amazon's probably the most glaring. It's not that they're not a great company, and many times you find out that the trusts actually kept the price down artificially low to make sure no one else ever came in. That's also a violation, to make it too cheap. And there's enough things with Amazon fixing the price of PDF books, Kindle books, and all that stuff, along with Apple and others. They've done more than a few things to do it, and it may be a great company, and the prices actually may even be lower, and the government still will bust them up. So don't be surprised if you see something. Amazon, the poster child, but Apple, a little less likely. Facebook could in some of their things, but my guess is we're going to see a very active Justice Department in the near future. Other things going on over the weekend, or actually starting late Friday, World War Web 1 started. The global WannaCry ransomware cyber attack spread through almost 250,000 computers. 30,000 of them were in Asian businesses. And kind of interesting way this thing got snuffed out, and that was it had a kill switch. That was the attack folks could register a new .com domain name, and it was just a random long list of characters, so someone else wouldn't have taken it. And by registering it, if the ransomware saw that, it would just automatically give up and decrypt your hard drives. Well, this guy kind of was screwing around and actually bought the domain name. He says by mistake. I don't know how he could do it. Guy was a pretty smart guy in a cyber warfare company in England. So I don't think it was that much of a mistake. I just don't think he wants any retribution from wherever these folks came. But the most interesting thing to me is that we know just how many infected machines there were in Asia, because, of course, they pirate a huge amounts of software, especially Windows products. And since the newer Windows products are harder to hack and use freely, they continue to use Windows 7 and Windows 8. We talked about how the government in the United States had been very active in pushing Microsoft to update everybody to Windows 10, including making it free. A lot of people decided not to do that, and this week they paid the price. You could still get Windows 10 for free, and people will not do it. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, Windows 7, Windows 8 people, problematic, but we'll talk more about this on the other side.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
I had a question in the den, and that was, where was I supposed to get my free copy of Windows 10 that was legal? All you have to do for any machine, at least up to 2 weeks ago, I haven't checked it lately, but even 2 weeks ago, if you had a copy of Windows 7 or Windows 8, you could do an in-place upgrade while the existing version was installed on your machine, and then you could do a bare metal one, i.e. you could format the hard drive, make a USB thumb drive, stick it in there, and do one. But when you do the first upgrade, it records the serial number of the processor and the motherboard of that machine, and it remembers it. So you can upgrade it later if you have to. You don't have to keep any of the disks or anything. You just have to be able to have a machine that you can make a USB on. And like I said, they've never really turned that off to my knowledge. So you could have upgraded to Windows 10, I know, as late as 2 weeks ago. But anyway, Windows 7 and Windows 8, mostly the ones that were affected, and mostly the ones in China, since none of them were legitimate copies, they'd all been hacked. Of course, they don't get the upgrades and the updates, so particularly vulnerable. And some 30,000 companies were shut down in China over the weekend. And of course, China tends to be one of these things where you don't have 3 employees. You got either 100 employees or 10,000 employees. So 30,000 companies is a pretty big deal. Hack is the ETF for the cyber defender companies. HACK. It opened a little higher, kind of came back about halfway, and it's still hanging up here at about $30.70. We've been talking about how it was going to take some kind of major Pearl Harbor attack to get people to start buying the software, and maybe that's what's happened today. We'll see over the next few days. But a lot of upside in these companies, not a lot of downside. I've always liked one of our subscribers has been in FireEye for a while, and it had a nice bounce. I was hoping it would pull back and I could pick it up. This has gone back now into this big gap that goes back to when this thing had disappointing earnings of down of about 25 million shares on the 5th of August last year, almost 26 million shares. You got about 22 million shares right now, so you're going to fill the gap, probably a little bit more volume out there than you have. So kind of nice thing. This one did have a nice test on lighter volume and half the volume going back to March 9th. And I have to say that I missed it, even though I was looking at it. Energy on the way up has been good. And, all you got to hope, like it, for me, is a pullback in these. But I think that finally this sector has set sail. What else is on there? PAWN, PANW, right? Not on. And West. Palo Alto Networks, a nice little gap up. Of course, this one was blown apart on earnings. Down the March 1st, 2017, with 21 million shares. It's just kind of got back up to that gap down. This has always been the one that I thought was the weakest of the bunch because it is a frontline defense. Some of the other ones, CYBR and FireEye, I always thought were the better companies. Now, on this one, for whatever reason, this one got thumped. It did open a little higher, started to come out here, of course, after bad earnings. It tried to go a little higher and still out there. So, man, you just can't catch a break if you're in this one. I always like FireEye better, though. It's been through some rough times. But again, there's several ways to have security, and you need to have it layered. Most CEOs think that they can just buy a big, expensive Cisco router, and we've got our wall up. We've got our moat up. Well, what happens when people get inside the castle walls? That's where a company like FireEye is much more adept, and why I think you see it bouncing a lot more than its brethren out there. Let's take a look at some other ones. Apple. That. Again, not higher, no signal yet. Down a little lighter volume. This one continues to make me think that we could wake up and see some kind of news to have this back at $150. Options continue to point much lower on this. This one is in one of the better stocks at pointing options pointing at its true expiration. And I kind of like, that 150 mark has been for 3 days out there. I'll see what it does tonight. But it certainly looks like one of the ones that could pull back. And, 150, what is it, 156 to 150 or 150, could be 152.50. It may hit that strike before expiration. But it certainly looks like that is very possible. And any of these stocks that start to pull a little lower certainly could do that. TSLA, we talked about that one gapping down today. Now, this one has a big sell signal on it. Again, the big problem, just massively shorted everywhere. Let's try this again. There we go. This one is a pretty good one when you think about what I look for, which is a test on the previous high. I would have liked to seen a little lighter volume out here. We didn't get it. But you are closing, if you're ignoring the volumes, we are going to close probably below the 3x3 displaced average on that. And as long as it stays below that 3x3, be an interesting play. Some other stocks of interest that I wanted to see how they did today. Papa John's Pizza got destroyed on earnings. It's been bouncing around this $82 level. April 5th, last time it had 700,000 shares. Had a little bit more, but still nothing compared to the huge day down on earnings on the February 22nd. And this thing had 3.8 million shares. So you're up back into this gap with about half the volume. And seasonally, this thing is kind of weak into football season. So you've got kind of a seasonal possible play on this back down to about $75, $73 is my guess. And you're at about 82. So possible play out there. A little less volatile than the semi stocks out there. What else did we have? Some of these 3D printer companies were looking kind of interesting. They are coming up to resistance levels. Stratasys, SSYS, once the bell of the ball, been bouncing off this $30 level. You needed some fairly strong volume, which ends up being what, about 4 billion shares. You got about half of that. So again, a lot of these stocks beating up against highs. I would not be surprised to see, again, any day in the coming future, a big gap down in the S&P. So we'll be back after this short time.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
We're going to look through a few other stocks. We already hit Tesla, didn't we? Did we? TSLI. I think I did it. I almost have to check things off. Oh, yeah, we did. I said it's this close puts you under the 3x3 and one of the better ones out here. The downside is this thing is potentially almost lock limit short again. And what do? it's better to have a stock that's going to fall apart, that doesn't have a lot of shorts that have to cover underneath it. So I will probably find something better, but my guess is that this is eventually headed to $40. I just don't, is it 2 years from now? Is it a year and a half from now when this thing busts and reality hits? Kind of hard to tell. What else do we have? Somebody wanted to ask me about the SMHs. You can always email me at path@tfnn.com. So you can get on that. Oh, we've got somebody wants to look at the BIIB too. No signal significantly yet, other than the fact that there's been no volume the last 2 days. And in fact, you can say that since this thing gapped up on no volume on the 10th, that this thing has been on a sell signal. But again, fairly light volume today, just under 1.2 million shares on the SMHs. So you have to watch that. Let's take a quick look at the IBB and then the BIIB. Again, these are higher lows and lower highs and higher lows. And that makes me think that there's going to be something that busts us out of it. I want to see this thing bust out of this range before I go after it. Too many times I've looked at stocks like this and they've gone nowhere. I don't mind buying these things at lows when they're $2 stocks, when they're just going sideways. But up here, it's more of a coin flip, so I don't know about that. So let's take a look at BIIB. And you've got some lows out here. Looks to me like this thing still wants to get down to the 223.02 June 27th, 2016 low. I do like the energy coming out of this thing March 3rd down to May 11th. But there's still no buy signs. It's not above the 3x3. To me, I would love for a low volume summer for this thing to pull back to around that 223 level and test it on a volume like in August or something, setting up a fall rally. But this market is so stretched out here, and this is one of the least bought stocks. There's just, I don't know. I can't say that this one's right in the middle. And again, why I hate these stocks where there's no real clear edge, higher or lower. What I would need is a big test of 223.02, the June 27th, 2016 low, to get excited about the IBB. The BIIB, Biogen IDEC. And I think you could get it, but that would be pretty sweet. You need to have this light volume move, and it may take the rest of the summer to get some of these back down. STX had poor earnings and got slaughtered. This thing's bouncing a little bit. It's got a giant gap down. That's the first gap. My guess is this thing could gap all the way back down to 37 and maybe even a third gap down here at 25. So if you were looking at STX, there's not an easy way to short this thing now, but it looks like one of the most ugliest of all the semi-spaced computer manufacturing companies. Western Digital looked a little bit better. They drove that back up into the long-term trend line. But they had bought a memory company, so they're a little bit better off. I don't think a whole lot better off, but a little better off than Seagate. And I think even Western Digital was down today because they found out that they didn't buy, when they bought Toshiba, they didn't get the chip part of the company. And they're having to sue to try to get that chip part of the company. But I don't think, it sounds like all the news that I've read from Asia, that they don't get it. And I think they thought that they were going to get a lot of the chip manufacturing part when Toshiba went belly up. And I don't think that they're going to get it as they thought. So we'll see how that works out. They may be in the same boat as STX soon enough. XPO. This one had been kind of interesting. We were looking for some of these stocks that finally have closed underneath the 3x3. That means they may be a couple of days out. What you would like to see is one more bounce and then back underneath on some of these. But some of these have had a nice little run lately. You had a couple of days with some energy, and then they've just really tailed off. So not much happening in that way. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com, or you can post a message in the den if you have anything else that you want me to look at. Okay. What else do we have out here? Let me take a quick look. What else do we have going on? Dick's Sporting Goods, DKS, reports before the bell tomorrow. This thing's already gapped down. Is that right? Just didn't like it at all today. No one. Well, I guess that was Friday. Still a little bit more. You could call it dark cloud cover, but normally that's at highs. This thing's back into its previous lows, already spiked it with more volume. No one wants anybody in a strip mall, in a mall, with bricks and mortars. Nothing looks very exciting. What else do we have for earnings? PBR. Little pop out here. Of course, a lot of Who Shot John about the Arabs finally all getting together and singing Kumbaya and really reducing the amount of output. I think that'll all be forgotten by Wednesday. But you probably have a couple more days of, trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. Sounds to me like the cartel has a little bit of insanity. Nice little pop up here, up to $10.57. But all these South American companies have huge problems, and mostly political. From Venezuela to Brazil to Argentina, there's a lot of problems. So what do we have here? Okay. When we come back, we'll look at maybe some 52-week highs out here and see if we've got any that have some volume. We did that Friday, and there was a handful of them, but they were kind of light. See if any of them hit today and had the boost.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
As we said earlier in the show, there's not a lot of volume so far anyway in these stocks as they continue to press new highs. We're at 2,400 on the S&P cash. Volume is under 2.2 billion shares. We probably need somewhere around 5.5 billion shares. Probably going to come in at about 3.2, maybe 3.1 billion shares on the day. So certainly not going to have any kind of sign of strength unless something drastically changes. Doesn't mean we'll sell off today, but I don't see a lot out here. We're going to go through the 52-week highs out here and see if we can't find some stocks that have some huge juice without news and are breaking to higher highs. Applied Optoelectronics, AAOI, made a 52-week high on Friday with 3 million shares. Not a lot. You may get the same volume today, but it is pulling back. Apple, of course, we talked about that one. Had a little better volume than some on Friday, 32.5 million shares. It's down on 17 today. Ambev, another 52-week high. Again, not going to get the volume it had on the breakout 3 days ago. Just a little bit better. And again, you kind of have to look at these stocks in the idea that everybody likes to buy sin stocks when the market starts heading down. Adobe, another just tick higher out here. Volume's going to be about the same as it's been since its last gap up, which is really the last time that this thing had any kind of juice. Aetna, this one is actually and could close below the 3x3, putting it in the danger zone of a decent pullback. Applied Materials is another one. Now, this one hasn't given a signal yet, but you've had 3 or 4 days of a good push. Today's it. Doesn't look like the volume's going to get any bigger. Amazon, this thing's pulled back just a little bit on almost no volume. No real signal out here to do anything with it. But again, one of these stocks that just will of a handful of people. Vago Technologies up. Again, no huge sign of strength. It's just a little bit higher. Again, this is in the cell sector. Doing a little bit better even with Apple pulling back. AYA, which is a Maya. This thing is just back up to its gap. No big deal there. Brookfield Asset Management, a little pop higher with no volume in that one. BAM's the symbol. BCR, and the thing's going sideways. BDX. Beckinson Dickinson, a new 52-week high Friday. Couldn't hold it. Today, a little doji on no volume, so that one's dangerous. Sotheby's, excuse me, I've got to say it correctly. Sotheby's is out here just on a light volume going sideways. Did not break the previous high on higher volume and has just been going sideways on that since it did it, but no real pullback. So you've got to watch that. If the market pulls back, That's got a fairly decent sell signal and back to $42. A real possibility on that one. BTI just a tick higher today. No follow through on volume. Boyd Gaming, its 52-week high on Friday. Can't push that high today. A few pennies underneath it, but just no juice. Less than 700,000 shares so far. CBD, the bank was this a Brazil distributor. Higher. No juice on this one. 252,000 shares. Watch for a reversal signal on that one tomorrow. The Kimmers Company, this one bounced. Volume's been kind of light and variable for about 7 or 8 days since this thing broke out above the May 2nd high. Volume's tepid at 2.3 million shares so far today. CGNX, Cognizant Corporation, little pop out here, maybe a reversal, no juice so far. You've got 554,000 shares. You had 621,000 shares on Friday. But what you're doing now is you had this big pop on the 2nd, and that had 2.5 million shares. You've kind of gone along, so you're kind of poked your head out. I dislike that as a short because it is in the $90 price range. If we are going higher, look at that one to go to 100. CHKP, which is Checkpoint Software. This one actually has some juice out here today. It is making a little doji, so if this thing gaps lower tomorrow, watch out also. CI, which is Cigna Corporation. Looks like this could close under the 3x3 displaced moving average tomorrow, so keep an eye on that one. Back to 158 is not going to be a big deal on CI. CQH, which is Schneider Energy. This thing had popped through on Friday, the April 27th high, but couldn't hold it. Into it again today with no volume, just the opposite side. CRM, another high, but Friday had 5 million, let's call it 5.6 million shares. Today, about half that as you make a new high. CTSH, Cognizant Technology Solutions Corporation, 52-week high with no volume today. Second doji in a row. Talking about some of the 3D printer companies, 3D Systems making a new high out here to almost $23. Volume's been declining since the 8th when this thing started moving up out of it. Kind of light volume. You kind of like this thing to pull back to probably about $20, even if the market's headed higher, to get an ABC maybe started in that. The Darden Restaurants, 52-week high on Friday, spiked it, kind of pulling back today. Wasn't a lot of volume on the push. 1.4 million shares. Friday, 1.5 million shares the time before it. And this thing just really went sideways for about 7 days and then had a non-sign of strength as it went higher. What else do we have? A lot of these stocks could turn at any second, but not signals for them. Let's get to the HDP. Hortonworks. Horton sells the who, apparently. A little tick above on this one, very light volume, 800,000 shares compared to the 1.6 million shares on Friday. So higher high, back into the trading range today. HIIQ, which is Health Insurance Innovations, a little tick higher on Friday. No volume pullback today. HPQ, take a look at this one. A little doji out here today. This thing starts to catch up for a pullback. No volume so far today, 4.4 million shares compared to the 6.4 million shares on Friday. HRB, H&R Block, light volume day, 1 million shares so far compared to the 2 million shares on Friday as it made, actually made a new 52-week high today. Hum, which is Humana, actually looks like this one's going to close under the 3x3 displaced moving average today by a tick. You'd like this thing to kind of pull back a little bit, maybe put it a little higher, push back up to maybe the 230 and set the hook there. A little bit of sign of weakness here, a little bit of counter move and then pull the trigger on that if you're thinking short. We'll look at a few more of these before the end of the show. Still have time to give me a call at 877-927-6648.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And what do we have? We're just a tick under 2,400 on the S&P cash, up 9 points. Volume has been pretty pathetic. We needed something in the range of about 5 billion shares on the NYSE consolidated tape. 2.25 right now. So what are we going to do about 3.1, maybe 3.2 billion shares by the end of the day? And that's if we get some decent volume. If volume doesn't come in at the end of the day, this thing is going to be one of the weakest attempts back at new highs in probably 10 years. I think so, as a percentage-wise. iRobot, another 52-week high. Their volume is not picking up, but kind of pulling down. This thing had its juice on earnings, popped up on the 26th of April with 3.7 million shares. We're up with about 400,000 shares today. And again, there's a lot of these stocks need to and probably will come back into their gaps. On this one, about 72, 72.50 looks like where you would find support. JD.com, the Chinese company, up a little higher. Friday we had 13.9 million shares today, about 9. We might get close to that same, although it did make a new high and retreat back into the trading range of Friday. What else did we have? LL, lumber liquidators. Well, the dead have risen and they're walking the earth, aren't they? Lumber liquidators back up in a kind of a triple high. Today, you've got about 570,000 shares. This thing did kind of pop with 3.2 million shares and a little sign of strength. I think that was an earnings day. After just getting hammered back on the 2nd of May, down on 6.9 million shares. A lot of people short this thing, betting it was going to go out of business. This may be the last little pop up here before this thing heads south once again. Most of the housing stocks that I'm looking at look like they have huge weakness coming in the summertime. Live Person, another one of these stocks that had a lot of shorts in it, bounced on the 11th of May, did so with 1.66 million shares. Today we're a little higher. It is holding that high, but less than 700,000 shares. Again, my point here today is that we are going higher with lighter volume in the indexes and extremely light volume in most all stocks. McDonald's, another 52-week high today. Volume on this is 1.8 million shares. We go back to the gap up on earnings on the 25th of April with about 11 million shares. So getting fairly long in the tooth to be making new 52-week highs on 1.8 million shares for stocks like McDonald's. Mercado Libre, a payments company in South America and Central America. Today, 370,000 shares compared to the bounce up on 1.7 million shares on the 5th of May. Momo got its Momo back. Volume's kind of okay, but a lot of these stocks you can look at where they're going to be pulling back, although there's no signals. You can pretty much see these things coming back to these breakout areas. March 7th, you had 22 million shares. This thing broke out, and even being charitable, 15 million shares on the 8th of March. And, of course, what do you have today? About 5. This one did go a little higher. It's pulled back into the trading range. I think a lot of these things really look like they could come back to their support levels, and it would take that long. As I said, I'm not going to be surprised if we see some kind of big gap down the rest of this week. Options kind of point to it. Just be very careful. Options are cheap. You can buy protections to the downside. Remember to sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.